Okay, I would like to now introduce the next speaker, Professor Xing, Professor of Politics and Society at the Aalborg University in Denmark. He will outline some of his insights into the Belt and Road Initiative in light of, as you see, of the US-China rivalry and how we can work to make that, instead of a rivalry, a friendship, which hopefully will be a result of our work. So thank you very much, Professor Li. We don't hear you though. You have to unmute.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
And also the screen.
Yeah, the screen
Okay.
we see. The screen
Okay,
is seen.
First of all, I would like to thank Stefan and Hussein from the Belt and Road Institute in Sweden. It is my pleasure to speak to this seminar. And I regard myself as academic, a bit different from the previous speakers. And I do not need to talk more about Belt and Road and Party Congress because His Excellency Ambassador Cui has already introduced Belt and Road in depth and in substance. And also Professor Michel Grassi and also expressed very well about the significance of Belt and Road and its connection with Europe. And I am professor in international political economy, international relations, and I would say I think let me use the pen. In 2018, I published a volume on Belt and Road Institute on China's Belt and Road Initiative, and it has received quite good publicity and quite a lot of downloads. This book. So as academic, I try to provide a broad theoretical and conceptual understanding about the Belt and Road and about the current situation where Belt and Road is situated, which is China-US rivalry. So right now we are witnessing a kind of a mix of world order transformations. We have a world disorder, a lot of disorders, including the war in Europe. We need a new world order, which is not happening. And we really wish that the current world order can have some kind of reorganization to include emerging powers, but that is not happening. The United States is refusing to do that. At the same time, we are witnessing a lot of world disorder and crisis. I'm just listing here. I'm not going to go through it. And also the rise of China and the BRICS also giving a lot of pressures on the existing order, and also the rest of the world, the rest countries of the world are adjusting themselves to the changing world order and the rise of China. And in Europe and the whole world, we are facing a divided world. If you look at the condemnation against Russia, United Nations is 141 countries condemned, but why, my question is, only 46 countries sanction Russia? According to the new data from the Center for Future of Democracy, Cambridge University, shows clear a division of the world, okay? Among the global north, okay? If you look at the global north, 1.2 billion population, they have a negative view over China, 72%, and negative view over Russia, 87%. But the data is almost the reverse. If we talk about global south, 6.3 billion population, they have a positive attitude towards China, 70%, and even 66% over Russia. So we can see the world is divided. And I want to echo Stefan's word, whether in Europe, we also have a censorship. We do not really tell our people what is happening outside the world. This is what I want to quote what recently Indian foreign minister, he said, Europe has to grow out of the mindset that its problems are world problems And the rest problems are not European problems. Because I came to Europe before the end of the Cold War, I witnessed the feeling of triumphalism in Europe, the great confidence in Europe. But now I see the confidence is declining. During the Cold War, we have a bipolar. Then we moved to a unipolar, very short, US-based unipolar, and now we are in multipolar. This is what the textbooks says. This is what we always say. Okay, and if we combine what I just mentioned about there is a kind of overlapping, changing characteristics in 3 different but overlapping ways: reorder, new order, and disorder. Then my research question is my own question I pose to the rest of all panelists and also audience is that whether the world is moving towards a multi-order world. Okay, multi-order world. This is the new concept. And this is also a project, a research project, which we have received funding by 3 professors. Okay, 1 from UK and 2 from Denmark. And this idea of multi-order world shows that if US-China decoupling, economic technological decoupling is further deteriorating, and if Europe and Russia is also decoupling economically and in terms of security and politically, then we are moving towards a multi-order world. Okay, if we talk of multi-order world, then China definitely will represent one order, and many people theorize that BRI, Belt and Road, will be the driving force, and the China-led connectivity will be the symbol of China-led order. Okay, but what is Europe's choice? I'm going to ask the question at the end of my presentation. Okay, so we are in our current age is age of global political economy. Okay, which means that both structure and agency, which means actor. Okay, structure, the world economic structure with division of labor, production chain, supply chain, value chain, global finance, and resource and raw material, they are totally intertwined and decentralized. Okay, this is the structure. Okay, then we have actors. Used to be the state as the main actor, but not now anymore. We have transnational companies, we have transnational actors and transnational political forces. So now we are in the age where both global structure and global agencies are changing. Look at China's BRI. If we try to understand China's Belt and Road, then you can see that the Party Congress will further enhance BRI and further push the BRI to be integrated with world economic structure. So all these China's achievements, I don't need to repeat them because Ambassador Cui has already introduced Chinese progress. If we put Chinese progress, if we inject Chinese progress into the world economic structure, and the BRI will further enhance China's integration with global division of labor, production chain, supply chain, value chain, etc., etc. And Europe, Asia, Latin America, and Africa, and the rest of the world will be part of this. And now US is worried as an agency. US is worried. So now US and China is in a very hot rivalry situation. US and China are in a rivalry and competitive relationship today, and you can see that Quad, okay, security dialogue, and also Indo-Pacific strategy, and now US wants to set up Indo-Pacific economic framework to compete China's Belt and Road. But I would argue that the US concern is much more security rather than economic development. This is my analysis and interpretation. And because of the Belt and Road and its success, now we are witnessing the rise of global competitions into economic structures. Okay, we have a Belt and Road already. Then we have a European Union's global gateway. Okay, United States Blue Dot Network, G7's Build Back Better World, and Japan's infrastructure investment, Russia's Eurasia. Okay, then we have the South-North Transport Corridor by Russia, Iran, and India. So we can see the competition now. Okay, which is good, I think. Which is good. Okay, World Bank has a study on a better road, and the World Bank conclusion is that if World Bank has got global support and it can be implemented smoothly and successfully, it will increase both the world, the bad road countries' living standard income and even the whole world. So this is a study by the World Bank. Okay, I want to echo Stefan's in the beginning his remark on whether in Europe we have censorship. We do not want our people to know what is happening. I myself live in Denmark. I do not see a lot of news on what is happening about outside world in Denmark. Honestly, I do not see the TV, the video, and now I will try to tell you what is happening in Southeast Asia. You have railway stations are connecting in many parts of our Southeast Asia. You have Indonesia, you have the Lao Railway, okay, the high-speed train, okay. Now there is a plan from Chinese Kunming all the way to Singapore, okay. And Vietnam is going to also implement Chinese railway standards. Burma and many other, Cambodia, they will be part of the train network. Now Africa too. Ambassador Cui also mentioned about Chinese railway project in Africa. So Belt Road and connectivity is the icon, is the prosperity of East Asia, Africa, and many parts of the world. In Europe, do we know that actually the Eurasia train is one of the most important transportation means today in Europe? Because of the war, because of sanctions, that we have a limited airspace transportation now. The train now is playing the most important role today. Okay, and also because of the coronavirus situation, we have there are trains from China to London and to Madrid. Okay, and you can see the recent years, in the last couple of years, is 11 to 12% increase every year, and it is operating 1,000 trains per month for 27 executive months. You can see the demand for the train network is getting higher and higher. So connectivity, bad road connectivity in Europe is playing a big role. Do we know that? Do European citizens know this? I'm not sure. So Europe is now standing on the two boats. It's standing in two boats. On the one side, it has security connection with the United States. It need the United States in terms of security, but on the other side, they also have a great economic cooperation with China. It needs China as well. So now Europe is in kind of standing in two boats. Okay, but according to a research that most European countries wants to have keep the traditional security connections with the United States. At the same time, every country wants to strengthen its economic cooperation with China. But whether Europe is able to implement its very base foreign policy, I am very doubtful. If we look at European Union's China policy, it's not very consistent. It's not very consistent. On China, we do not see a united Europe. On China, I see at least a divided Europe on almost on every issues. On economic issues, okay, we had a very great success on comprehensive economic investment, but because of the very politics, because of the Hong Kong, Xinjiang, and this investment treaty was paused, was suspended. Human rights always become a kind of a blockade in a lot of corporations. Bad road, and also that these Eastern Europe and the Balkan countries are under pressure. And also, if you look at Huawei, Professor Gracia also mentioned Huawei. Some countries use Huawei, some countries not use Huawei, some countries are doubtful about Huawei. So Huawei become also a divided line in Europe too. So on Europe, on China, we do not have a united Europe. We have a divided Europe. So Europe choice. Now I'm asking the question: Europe choice. Okay. I have seen a lot of research, research reports regarding that what Europe is going to do if China, US is in a conflict situation. And one institute says if Germany, the two German institutions said if Germany sides on the US side and starts economic sanctions against China, Germany will lose 6 times as much as Brexit, which Great Britain has lost. Another institute's conclusion is that there is no way that Europe is going to be successful in sanction against China if that situation came, okay? Because China's dominance in global supply chain and value chain, and also global South, they will not follow the European suit or the Anglo-Saxon suit at all, okay? And China is going to further develop in order to isolate itself against any Western sanctions. China is going to be more and more independent, so which is not good for Europe at all. And don't forget, according to Forbes, that while in the West we're talking about the delinking, decoupling, the rest of Asia, even Africa, they are more and more integrated with China. So the situation in Europe and in Asia is totally different. We must understand this. European leaders, they understand it, actually. If you look at Macron's speech to French ambassador conference in 2019, and also former Chancellor Merkel's speech to the World Economic Forum, they all understand it. Macron will talk about the decline of Western hegemony, and Chancellor Merkel should talk about why China is setting up alternative institutions. Is because we, the West, especially the United States, we are refused to adopt institutional reforms. Don't forget, China is Europe's largest trading partner, and also Professor Gracia talk about Chancellor Schu's visit to China and German company. Don't forget, more than 50% of German companies in China, their market share is more than 35%. It's huge profit. And that is why that the Dutch company, which make chips machines, they refuse to cooperate with the United States because the loss of Chinese market is huge. So now I come back to my last point, is that I return to my research question. If that US-China rivalry, if Europe follow United States suits on the US side, whether the world is going to moving towards a multi-world order. I believe Europeans are rational. I believe it. Okay, I'm not sure, and I hope that we will have a better world, even if that we were moving towards a multi-order world, but we still can cooperate. But I hope that we will have a real world order. Okay, it's here. We hope the real world order will be the dominant spirit. Thank you, Better World Institute. Thank you, Stephen, and thank you, Hussein, and thank everybody's attention.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Professor Lee, for a very informative and thought-provoking presentation. I hope people will think about it.